welcome back to the channel. So a couple days till we get to Christmas, also a couple of days since I hit 10,000 subscribers on this channel. So a huge thank you to all the viewers. I've really enjoyed working on this channel over the last couple of years and look forward to continuing making videos on Minimoto and all the other stuff that I'm doing in my garage. I also wanted to thank some of the vendors. Kemimoto sent me this bag as a Christmas gift. They didn't even ask me to review it. And I don't really have a bike big enough to run this as a luggage rack bag, but it's actually perfect for my tire warmers and my extension cables for taking to the track. It has like a cooler feature. It's got the lining so that you can use it for drinks. But anyway, really appreciate that. And Taiga also sent me this gift that I haven't even opened yet, but very much appreciate the support from not just the viewers, but all the vendors that have been helping me out with this channel. So what I have though in front of me today is something I'm very excited about. This is the 2004 Honda NSR 50R motorcycle that was sold in the US only in the year 2004. I don't know exactly how limited the production run was, but having only been sold for a single year, there obviously aren't too many that were at least originally sold here in the US. I know some people import them from other countries because the NSR 50 was made in other countries, I think as early as like the early 90s up until 2007 or something. But here in the US, we only got it in 2004, and this is my 2004 NSR 50R. This is going to be something that I'm riding around on the track. I've already ordered new track tires, and you'll see as I do a walk around that this is actually missing the exhaust for some reason. So I ordered a new exhaust from WeBike and want to get it on the track, ride it around before I assess and figure out exactly how I tackle the restoration. But having just rode it around the block a couple of times, it's an extremely fun bike. So some of the specs, it's only 49cc, it's a two-stroke, but it revs to 11,500 RPM. Once you get past like 7,000 RPM, this thing screams. I think it makes 7.2 horsepower, which honestly isn't much less than a standard Honda Grom that has more than twice the amount of displacement. This also has a very close ratio 6-speed transmission, which is the same as like my Ducati, for instance, and it feels much more like a race bike. The original and the first two generations of the Honda Grom only had a 4-speed transmission. Everybody was excited that the new one has a 5-speed transmission, but almost 20 years ago, Honda was putting 6-speed transmissions in a mini bike. And anyway, it's a much more fun bike to ride, especially from that track perspective. Realistically, these Groms and like the Honda Track Monkey that I've made more track focused than a lot of people do, wasn't really designed to be on the track. It was designed as a kind of light commuter bike, but this thing was purpose built by Honda to be on the track. It came with pretty aggressive tires. It has Showa suspension both in the front and the rear. It comes with the clip-ons, and in other countries this was sold in different variants that were street legal. So it came with a speedometer and turn signals and a headlight. This thing actually looks like it was just stripped down from one of those and sold as the race bike. There's a lot of mounting bracket points where you could put together gauges. Here on the side you can see is where the turn signals go, and there's a hole for the headlight. On this side, on the front, is just a number plate cover. But anyway, very stripped down, very lightweight. This thing is 160 pounds. That means with me fully geared up, we're about the same weight, me and this bike. And that's going to be a very fun experience on the track. So let me take the camera off the stand and walk you around. The bike is overall in pretty good condition given its age, and it won't take much to get this into not just an amazing riding bike, but also looking as good as it should as well. So starting here at the front of the bike, there's just this black plate that covers up the hole where the headlight goes, but this is perfect for doing a number decal. There's a little bit of a chip here. Most of the fiberglass is actually in pretty good shape. There's a few different cracks, but fiberglass is pretty easy to repair. There's a good scratch down here, and actually across there's a lot of small scratches, but nothing that isn't relatively easy to repair. I'm not going to worry about the fiberglass yet. I'm going to ride the bike around the track a few times. Inevitably, I'll probably go down. I'd like to get comfortable on it before I start to spend too much time on making it look perfect, but it does come with disc brakes. It's got kind of the standard 2-pot caliper here from Honda. They do sell a bracket though, so that I can put a Brembo P34 brake, which I probably will. And I'll probably also do the RC14 brake lever here and reservoir. This actually is a little bit bent. Most of the parts though are in really good condition. Looking here on the front of the bike, you can see again where it's just stripping out stuff that previously existed. So the road model that comes in other countries has a key, and here's where they have other gauges. Down here you can see where the headlight goes. But in this one it's stripped out for just the tachometer. Get that in focus. And here you can see there's a turn signal, oil, temp, neutral, light, but you can actually see all the way through it. It's just empty. So all it actually has is the tachometer, and it's got this run and off. There's no electronics on the bike. There's also no starter, and there's also no Kickstarter. There's just this plug here that you can see. So you have to actually bump start this bike to get it going. But again, it's a race bike. That's something that you should expect. It is water cooled, so it has a radiator. Here you can see the exhaust that I was saying got cut off here, so it's pretty loud. I'll ride it around a little bit, but since it's not registered and super noisy right now, I'm not going to spend too much time on it. The rear sets look and feel like a real race bike. Then all of these panels are fiberglass. The rear shock is this Showa shock that also has this reservoir up here. It's funny, there's just a clamp here that holds on the reservoir that looks like it's aftermarket, but this is actually how it came from the factory. Back here we also have disc brakes. The wheels are a 3-spoke design, and they look a lot like the Grom wheels, and they also take the same tires as the Grom tires. I ordered these Pirelli Superbike tires that just came out that I'm looking forward to having on the bike. I also love how this centerpiece of the frame is displayed like it is. It's very reminiscent of early and mid 2000s Honda CBR bikes. Shifter is actually a direct linkage shifter. They do sell aftermarket rear sets where you can do GP style so that you can reverse the direction of the shifting pattern. For now, again, I'll leave it like this, but as I spend more time on the bike, I may look to make adjustments there. This is also carbureted, so you can see the carburetor down here, and there's a fuel petcock. Again, though, overall in pretty good condition. There's some road rash here. Being fiberglass, it's something that you can fill and paint that I will at some point look to make this bike aesthetically perfect. Here's the coolant overflow tank, and there's a lot of detail work that I'll look to do. You know, this lever here is needs some buffing, and then a lot of the paint work needs to be either powder coated or painted to look perfect, but overall in pretty good condition. And I love how it has a pretty legitimate 2000s race bike look. All right, so for now, since it doesn't have a muffler, I don't want to ride it on the public streets. I probably will do some videos once I have an exhaust that quiets it down a bit, but I wanted to show you the bump start function. So it just has this on and off switch. You turn it to run, and then I put it into second gear, just give a little push and it starts up. So let me start it up and then annoy my neighbors as I run up and down this alley a couple of times. That was pretty loud. So a lot more content to come for this bike as I get it on the track and ride it around. I'm also excited to let some of the faster guys ride it and give me some feedback on what I should do from a performance perspective. And then also as I just start doing some of the details, first cleaning up the bike and then working on some of the finer things to make this look amazing as well. But really excited to have this. Also, I wanted to thank everybody again for the 10,000 subscribers. I'm really enjoying working on this channel and I appreciate all of the engagement. If you enjoyed the video, please give it that thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. Thank you everybody very much for watching. Stay tuned for more videos and keep on building.